So you just purchased your first sports car. Congratulations. But after you spent all that money to buy the car, you actually have very little left over to actually mod the car. Now, we all know that being a car guy is a very expensive hobby, and it's very challenging to find parts at a decent price that will improve the performance of your car. But in this video, I got you because I got 5 cheap performance mods that'll help you out if you do not have a lot of money laying around to throw into your build. So the first mod on this list may not sound like much, but tires are actually a huge factor in building a very nice car and getting the most out of your suspension and your engine. So just hear me out for a second, because in my opinion, tires are one of the most important mods that you can make on your first sports car. So when I first got my Scion FRS, it's a 2015, I have a first generation FRS. Whenever I first got it, it came with very cheap Prius tires. They were just all-season regular economy tires, and the car, honestly, it drove okay, but it did not stick to the ground like it really should have, like the car was able to handle. And so I went ahead, stepped up, got a nice set of aftermarket performance tires, and the handling of the car and the suspension actually felt way better after getting the aftermarket tires. Not only can you turn a lot sharper, but it also helps your braking, it helps your cornering. So if you like taking your car out on back roads, out on canyon roads, or in the mountains, this is probably the most important mod for you because you need that grip. And even if your car doesn't make a lot of horsepower, for example my Scion FRS, getting the aftermarket tires does so much more than just handling power. It will keep your car flat through the corners, and it will make the driving experience improve tenfold. And tires, they're not super expensive. I think I bought my set for around $400. That's a good chunk of money, but for the performance that you get for, a couple of years out of those aftermarket tires, it's really worth it in my opinion. And it's one of the best budget car mods that you can get because tires make a whole world of difference in driving. So moving on to the second entry on this list, performance spark plugs are actually a lot more helpful than you think. This is a really cheap mod, and if you replace your cheap copper and platinum ones with iridium spark plugs, this can really help with the wear and tear of the spark plugs. And it also helps with electrical conductivity throughout your car. It helps your engine run better, and the firing of your engine will be a lot more efficient and it will be a lot smoother. This is good for reducing misfires in engines. It's just like using, high octane in a car. It just really helps the efficiency of the motor. So in terms of longevity, with keeping your car, keeping it nice and clean and durable, these iridium spark plugs will really hold up to the test of time. You can really drive on these really hard and enjoy the most out of them without being worried that your car is going to misfire or you're going to have issues with a blown spark plug. And there's not much else really to say about these. If you want better engine life and you want more durability out of both your motor and your spark plugs, I would suggest switching over to iridium ones. And now the third mod on this list is actually really cheap. You can go over to AutoZone right now and pick one up for around 40 bucks. It is the high flow intake air filter. And this is honestly one of the cheapest and easiest mods that you can do to your car. All you have to do is pop your hood, pull out your old stock air filter, and put in the new high flow one. Now what this does is it allows more airflow, obviously, into the engine, and due to the design of the high flow air filter, it actually filters the air a lot better. Now generally stock engines, naturally aspirated engines especially, benefit a lot more from an aftermarket air filter simply due to the air-fuel ratio in the engine in the computer of the car. And the cool thing about this mod is there are actually 3 different variations to this, and they're all around filter density. So let's say for example you live in a place that has a lot of dust, has a lot of sand that may be flying up if you live out in the desert. You would be better off with a dense filter, and this will help clean out your engine a lot better than just a general stock one. But let's say you live in a very clean environment, like let's say you drive in the mountains per se, then you can get a very light intake filter which will maximize the air that gets into your motor, and it will clean it just as well as your stock filter, if not better than the stock filter. And now for the next mod on this list, this is probably the best mod for adding performance gains to your car, and it's just a simple flash tune. All you have to do is go on a website of some performance brand that makes stock tunes for your car. So let's say you have an FRS like I do, you can go on the Delicious Tuning website and they have preset tunes depending on the mods that you have. You can also customize them to have burbles and stuff like that. And although this will not be as effective as taking your car to an actual performance shop, putting it on the dyno and getting it specifically tuned for your engine, for your mileage, and for the mods that you have on your car, this is an easy way to add 20 or 30 horsepower for around 200 bucks. And a lot of companies, what they do is, if you mod your car even further, you can send the flash tune back. You just send them an email, be like, hey, I added this mod to my car, can you update my flash tune? And they will send you an updated one for absolutely free. And this is awesome because you can continue to mod your car and not worry about your car not being suited and not being tuned for the mods that you're putting on it. You can always go back as you add more parts. You can go back, email them, get more tunes, add that onto your car, and eventually when you have the build that you want, you can have a decent tune on your car to try and maximize the parts as best as you can. Obviously, this will not be as good as a performance tuning shop's tuning setup on your car would be, but the online tunes are pretty good and they're only like $200-300 bucks, so you might as well pick one up. Now the fifth and final car mod on this list is aftermarket exhaust. And you might be thinking to yourself, whoa, Scion Life, those things are like $12, $15, $2,000 sometimes, depending on the car and the engine that you have. Well, what I'm talking about is Axleback exhaust. Now this will not be as effective as a catback exhaust, but this is a lot better choice than just going out and getting your muffler cut off at a shop. With the Axleback exhaust, you can at least get a little bit of performance gains compared to getting your muffler cut off, which gives you none. And not only will it make your car sound a lot cooler, but it'll also shave a lot of weight off the back of your car. Now this is where the aftermarket tires come in, because those will really help out, and even though it's only like 10 or 15 pounds that you'll be shaving off, it's actually kind of noticeable whenever you go to floor it before and after. And overall, this is just a really great mod, especially if you want your car to make some noise, you want to be able to hear your engine more, like I did on my FRS. I ended up getting an Axleback exhaust. It was like 200 bucks. And honestly, I didn't expect it to sound that great, but it sounded a lot cooler than what I thought it would, and it was very fun driving around a car that actually sounded modified compared to the vacuum cleaner that I was driving before. So there you have it. Those are 5 car mods that you can get all together for under $1,000. And in the car community, in the car modding community especially, that's really good because, as we all know, car modding is super expensive. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave me a comment, leave me a like, share, subscribe if you feel like it. But for now, this is Scion Life signing out.